Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Are you ready to reach for the stars? Tune in to The Lost Wanderer, the #1 monthly podcast on good pods in astronomy. Join our host, Jeff, as he takes you on an interstellar adventure to explore the mysteries of space and the wonders of science. From rocket launches and distant galaxies to the latest discoveries in astronomy, each episode is a thrilling ride through the cosmos. Don't just gaze at the stars, come explore the universe with us. Follow The Lost Wanderer wherever you get your podcasts, and let's discover the stars together.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Green man in the desert night, Bigfoot roaming out of sight. Government shadows, secrets deep, conspiracies unfold while we sleep. Strange encounters unexplained, truth is out that really shame. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling history, stories untold. Area 51, a whispered name. UFO sightings, a haunting flame. Loch Ness monster, a watery myth. Cryptozoology, a curious gift. Strange encounters unexplained. Truth is out there bravely chained. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling mystery, stories untold. Skeptics doubt, believers yearn for answers hidden yet to learn. In the twilight zone where logic ends, the search continues without end. Strange encounters unexplained. Truth is out there bravely chained. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling mystery, stories untold. Truth is out there. Truth is out there.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be. I am not Art Bell, but I am one half of the normal crew around here for the Juxtaposition show, our every 2-week foray into the weird, the unusual, the unexplainable. I'm also joined by our very cool Amish friend who does this show with me every 2 weeks, and we also have a special guest this evening. We've kidnapped an alien, and he's with us here right now. So Amish, I'm going to start with you. How you been, man? How's things?
You know what? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Yeah, I could go into details, but it's not. I'm doing awesome. We haven't done this in a fucking long time.
I know, right? It's been like I realized we haven't done like an actual live version of this thing in like 2 months. I was
Well, it's
starting
like
to
because
get nervousness for my heart.
I missed out on the old panel on that one panel show because I was out sick, and 3 weeks. I've still got the cough, and but yeah, fuck. I don't think I think we did one episode after Juxtober together, and God, that's a long time. So fuck it, we're here now. We're doing it
It's
live.
been a minute. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
Blame
yeah.
me.
I mean, well, we usually do. We just
Well,
don't usually tell you we do.
Think about it. I started working on the ITC Witches episode, which is notoriously famed for really messing up Jux. You guys haven't really
Right.
done anything since I started talking and doing that show.
Yeah,
You know what? I hadn't connected those dots yet. You are a fucker.
right.
You and your fuckery. You and your fuckery.
By the way, Jeff. Oh, for y'all to know, Jeff did the theme song using AI. I liked it when you first dropped it on me. Now I'll get it stuck in my head while I'm working. I'll be driving in the truck to work, and I'll just have it rolling. It's really just it's catchy. It's gotten it. It's in my. It's a brainworm.
I
Yeah,
had
So
fun
it's awesome.
writing the lyrics for it, and then when AI spit out that, I was like, yes, that's it.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who randomly gets that song stuck in my head. I'll be like working on a story and something, and all of a sudden I have the riff from the Jux theme in my head. I was like, something is wrong with me, but apparently it's not just me. So.
Well, it's funny because I have that with one of my witches song, "The Fire
What
Down Below."
Nice.
That one just, yeah, I play that about every other day.
Nice. See, I don't have to play it.
How
I
are
just
you
get
doing?
randomly stuck in my head. So how are you, man? How are things?
I would love to say great. They're not, but they're getting better again. So one step in front of the other. It's yeah. This will be a good mental awakening for me. So I appreciate you guys that letting me come on tonight.
Of course.
Well, it was your topic. I mean, you floated the topic to me, and Rick and I were talking about, what are we going to do for this week? And then I said, well, Jeff hit me with this topic, so why don't you ask him on? So
What?
I'm glad you pulled it off.
I am too. I won't lie. I had 40 pages of notes for the show at 8 o'clock tonight. I thought I was going to go an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes. So I wasn't sure if I was still going to have a voice or not, but thankfully I got it done in an hour, so we're good.
Yeah, that was a good show. You fired through that content quick too. That was Jeff did a secret drop, top secret, the old tabletop game RPG top secret earlier tonight. And if you remember playing that game, or if you weren't familiar with the game, you got to go back and listen to the show, because that game was a super cool RPG.
It was so ahead of its time, and like I said, especially with shows like this, the Conspiratainment, that game would be so perfect for nowadays. Like, it was underappreciated, I think, in the 80s, but now with all the conspiracy theories, all the drones, all the stuff that you guys talk on a regular basis, that game would be perfect for all this stuff.
Since it has been a minute since we've done this, where the hell have all the drones gone?
Oh, they serve their purpose. But you know
Yeah.
what? I was thinking about it when I was researching tonight's topic. Totally in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing.
But
Like,
how
yeah,
about you, Rick? How you doing?
Well, I'm headed into week 3 of this. I don't even call it a man cold anymore. It's a man plague because it never dies.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm headed into week 3 of it, and every time I think I'm shaking it, like yesterday, I had a really good day. I was able to get a lot of work done. I got caught up on stuff around the house. I was able to do a full show without feeling like I was going to die. Got up this morning, felt pretty good, made breakfast, and the next thing I know,
And
I was
then
like,
it hit
you know
you
what?
again.
Then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of sleepy. I'm going to take a nap. It was probably about 11 o'clock. And next thing I know, I woke up and it was like 4:30. And well, actually, I guess it was about 4:15 because you texted me like a minute after I woke up going, what do you want to talk about today? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I'm on week 4 of it, and I have either a really great day or a really bad day where my energy. I've been sleeping at work in my vehicle to take a 30-minute power nap just to get that little bit of a recharge to get me through the day, and it's been 4 weeks of that. It's like, oh, come on, just one more. Come on, please fix it.
Boss makes 100, I make $1. That's why I crank my hog in the company truck.
100%. Yep.
That sounded dirty. Anyway.
I even got myself coughing on that one.
So what topic did you decide to go? I know you said you went mine, but I actually have
Yeah.
two aspects of what I think we're talking about tonight. So it's what are we breakaway civilization?
Yeah, we're doing the Breakaway Civilization. And we'll get into what that is all about in a bit. But one of the big people who are detractors of the Breakaway Civilization theory, they'll point to like scientists at Sandia or Fermi who will say, it's our duty, it's in our charter to release technology. That's great, but the thing is, there's a thing that not many people know about, and it is the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. And this was codified by law and signed. It was signed into federal law. What it does is it gives the government, because all patents have to go through the PTO, the patent office and trademark office. So they go through there, and anything that's listed under as an invention under certain criteria, and I'll get to that list in a minute. Um, the government, specifically military branches, all military branches, the DoD, Homeland Security, even the Department of Justice, Department of Energy, Department of Justice, they can look at that patent and go, no, we're going to we're we're making this classified. You can't talk about it. You can't file for patents in foreign countries under it. You'll be charged for, you'll get up to 2 years in prison for each instance you talk about it. If you try to, patent it in another country, you lose all rights to your patent in the United States. And it comes up for review every year. And the thing is, you can file an appeal, but like say, the Army says, no, you can't, we're making that patent classified. You can file an appeal, but you don't appeal to the patent office, you appeal to the Army, the ones who made the decision to classify your invention. They have first say to go, no. And this started in World War One. To kind of like keep people from inventing things that would help the enemy, or it's kind of, you know, something that could fall into enemy hands. And it was re-up during World War II. And then in 1953, they said, you know what, or 1952, they said, let's just make that permanent. And the list of things that that can be classified. They fall into these categories: amplifiers, recorders, sensors, or electronic tubes, computers, concealment, communications, countermeasures, and countermeasures, explosives and inflammables, explosive actuating methods like fuses and igniters, mine sweeping for torpedoes, anything that basically anything that has to do with a new invention in explosives or parts of an explosive. Mapping, charting, and geotagging, any patent under that gets flagged. Meteorology, that's weird. Military photography. I like this one. Miscellaneous. Let's see. Missiles, munitions, and explosive devices. Navigation equipment. Object locating methods and means. Power supply and generation. Propulsion systems, propellants and fuels. Protective measures. Radiology. Unique materials. Okay. Also, unique devices, performance, data, and characteristics. That's every patent. Vehicles and weapons and counter weapons and fire control. Any of these things can be looked at any of those agencies I mentioned, and they can go, yeah, we're classifying that project. We're classifying that invention. And they can classify it indefinitely. They review it every year, and they can say, no, that's still going to be classified. That's just like, who killed JFK? They just keep that re-redacting that. It's estimated that 10% of the inventions that have to deal with the military in some way, shape, or form are classified under this act. Now, that comes from national laboratories, but that's also from like Joe Blow, who figures out a new way to do, I don't know, mapping or cartography, or a new type of bullet resistant material. Any of that, any of it can be classified under the Invention Secrecy Act. So, in a nutshell, it really gives a backbone to the people who say there's a lot of suppressed technology. When you go through that list of things that can be suppressed, that's almost everything,
Yeah.
especially that under the miscellaneous.
Well, I have a couple questions related to this, and I
Yeah,
know we are, I think, unfortunately, going to tread on some politic lines on this episode.
sure.
Do you know when this goes up for revote every year or continuation?
It's no, it doesn't. I'm not exactly sure, but it's you mean when they review the list of things that they've classified and said, yeah, that's going to remain classified.
Yes.
I don't know if it's on the anniversary of the patent filing or if it's just, at the end of the budget year, whatever department has, is holding those items on its list saying, yeah, these are still classified, gives it to the PTO, and then the PTO notifies the patent applicant, yeah, you're still classified, get fucked, kick rocks.
Okay, because where I'm going with this, and just picking up on this right now, the United States Space Force, when
Right.
it was created, would not have automatically been a part of this. Was
No,
it
but it is now.
right? But would have been created to circumvent some things to make some things happen before it got added. Be-
In light of what we're talking about tonight, I could absolutely see that. I mean, not as a reason for it being created, but as a happy sidebar.
Yes, especially with the December 20th of 2019 when they were created.
Yeah.
The new Congress probably wouldn't have waited and to re-up and add things to it until a couple weeks, months later.
Right.
I'm just spitballing
Yeah,
here,
I
but
mean,
I
it
find
would have
that
been
fascinating.
yeah. The Yeah, no, it doesn't say exactly when these are up for review. But the number of secrecy orders has they estimate it's estimated that there's a 1100 to 1500 patents that fall under the classification process every year.
Yes. That's crazy to think about.
Rick,
I'm still here. I was just working on some
okay,
other stuff. But
I
no, it's
see
just
that.
like I said, I didn't realize that anything was. I didn't realize that. I didn't even know this thing existed till you sent me the link.
Yeah, it's it's like I said when I was researching for another topic we were going to do that we kind of shelved. That's when I came across this and just kind of like wow, and then it kind of dovetails into tonight's topic as well. But getting into tonight's topic, Jeff, since you brought it to our attention, why don't you kick it off? Tell us what it's all about.
I'm going to give the oversimplified version, and then I guess we can go further into it.
Sure.
The Breakaway civilization, I will say this is one of my favorite conspiracy theories because it is not only in my mind the most plausible because it has the widest reach. It is the idea that either government or humankind or aliens have decided to create another civilization either here on Earth or depending on how far you want to go into the civilization breakaway, another planet. And it really depends on okay, are they living underground? Is it a secret society? Is it like the movie 2012 where they're trying to build enough gather enough intelligent smart people to fit on a ark ship that's not labeled ark ship B to go escape the dangers of Earth? There's so many aspects of this that have the kernel of truth and probability that what we witness every day is insignificant based on there is another society doing controlling and running everything either here or remotely.
I mean, so let's start there, right? Because I mean, there's so many different aspects of this, and almost everything that we've touched on since we've done this particular program all stems from kind of the same thing. Even going as far back as the crazy ass flat Earth theory. One of the things that they keep talking about is how there are all these advanced civilizations past the Arctic Wall that are basically, we're either offshoots of them, they're offshoots of us, one way or the other. But then there's just so many other parts of it, like, and then there's the whole Is there an advanced civilization living inside of the hollow earth?
Yep.
Are there undersea bases? I mean, there's just so many different aspects to this. And
Why why the sudden interest in Greenland? I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of so many different potentials here that it's engaging from so many different levels, and even at the basis level. And I know already I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead here with my aspect of it, which makes me really believe that to some level this is more accurate than some conspiracies. The three of us are of a certain age. I won't say
Sure.
that number because it hurts, especially in light of some events this week.
it hurts all
Starts
of
with
us.
a five.
Do you remember in a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago, where we entered elementary school and routinely got tested for IQ?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
that was, that was kind of like one of the first, after you got the yellow math book,
Hmm.
then, that was kind of like your, okay, now we're, when you started getting into actual problem solving rather than doing stuff by rote, then, then they would throw you in for IQ tests. Yeah. That was common.
Yeah, and if you happen to score a certain range, you were tested frequently and often. At least I was. Now,
Right.
I say this having grown up right outside of DC, so we may have seen more direct impact than anyone else.
Yeah. Probably more than I did in a ski area in California.
Yes, because I
Yeah.
when growing up in elementary school, where I first went through K through 5, I got tested so often it was ridiculous. But or K through 4. When I went to 5th grade, I went to a farming school, even though in the same county with the same school district, they didn't do any of that, and they didn't have what I was a part of called the Gifted and Talented program. And when you research the Gifted and Talented program of elementary schools in particular, you find out that it was first an idea as far back as 1868. It didn't really stick, but it was 1958, shortly after, 7 years after the act that you talked about the classification of materials and everything else.
Mhm.
The National Defense Education Act was passed, which was the first large scale effort by the federal government in gifted education, spurred by the Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik in 57. The act aimed to identify and educate students that were skilled in mathematics, science, and foreign languages to bolster national security. Then in 72, you have the Marland Report, officially known as the Education of the Gifted and Talented, that was issued. It provided a formal federal definition of giftedness and encouraging schools to define giftedness more broadly. Now, 72, when did the moon landing stop?
Yeah, about
Yeah,
72 was
about
when the
then.
moon landing started. Yeah.
Okay. So, and
That's also when
now,
the Department of Education, and that was
yes,
79.
but it was the forerunner.
Yeah.
So now this defined giftedness a little more broadly, included academic and intellectual leadership, visual, performing arts, athleticism, creativity, and productive thinking, and psychomotor ability. Then in 88, the Jacob Javits Gifted and Talented Students Education Act was passed, establishing grants for research and programs focused on underrepresented gifted populations, because the gifted and talented in the early 80s got a bad name because unfortunately it was mostly white kids that seemed to be thrown into this group because of their IQ testing. So the IQ testing disappeared in the early 80s. The gifted and the talent program started having lack of funding. So then the Jacob K. Javits Act started increasing the population of minorities into the group too, and it's kind of stayed in the background. But what greater way when public education is mandatory for youths to find out who to put away in a civilization that will, quote unquote, be the embetterment of society, unquote.
So
Well,
it's
no,
so
you're totally right. That whole process, you know, I mean, and that's basically finding the yeah, one of the most common tropes in sci-fi is that, oh my god, the world's about to end, so let's get our best and brightest over to the Alpha site. You drink
Hmm.
Stargate One reference.
Yeah.
But that's a trope in a lot of sci-fi too. So it was kind of like with the whole continuation government, um, doomsday plan, but that's also yeah, let's get them all together. The ones who are borderline, we'll send them off to get fucked with by MK Ultra, but the rest of them, the
Hmm.
ones that we know that we can work with, we'll bring them into the fold, read them into the society that they didn't know about, the civilization they didn't know about.
Yeah, and this is one of the aspects I love about this conspiracy is it is so easy to tie in things like MK Ultra, Britney Spears, all
Sure.
that stuff. It can all be tied into there because when you're building a secret society, not that I would know, um, you have to have the diversion society, the ones that,
Yeah.
oh, look over here, the shiny object, the squirrel, because that will garner more attention. Meanwhile, you're doing this behind the scenes. Some of it maybe out a little more out in the open than people realize, but it's a great way to hide it in plain sight in a way.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's and I've talked about one of the local features here, which is it's a invitation only. Well, not really invitation only, but it's a extraordinarily small college of 24 people,
Mm.
and they are the brightest of the brightest. When you look at their alumni, it's Sex State, it's Fermi Labs, it's
Yep.
just the top echelon. And this is, I mean, it's really remote college, and it's really out in the middle of nowhere. And but yeah, so that's absolutely that's a real world, something I can look at when I drive past it and go, probably right there, you
Mhm.
know.
Well, so one of the things that I find interesting, because this actually kind of, at least in some respects, ties into another topic that I kind of feel like we don't spend enough thought and time on. As far as the whole IQ testing, figuring out who's smarter, all these things. I blame Operation Paperclip for a lot of that because I kind of feel like eugenics never actually died; it just came over here.
Yeah.
Right. No, and talking about Operation Paperclip, that was part of this theory is secret space programs. And the secret space program actually started under FDR, where he wanted us to focus on moving into space, in case of a global cataclysmic event or the chance that we had lost World War II, and getting the best and brightest out of here to go reseed Americana somewhere else. It is, of course, you can't blame them for thinking big. They weren't looking at the moon or Mars. They were looking at your home planet of Alpha Centauri.
Yep.
And they think, well, that distance is too far. So in 1945, Truman dialed it back a bit with Operation Paperclip, bringing in all the German scientists and engineers. And then they started saying, okay, well, let's look at the moon and let's look at Mars, because those are close. It's you got to walk before you can run, kind of thing.
Yeah, and Operation Paperclip would make sense 100% for the 51 act that you talked about and the Gifted and Talented in 57 that I talked about. They're all
Mhm.
connected in that regard of how do we build this. In one hand, we can call it secret society. On the German side, they would call it an absolutely different kind of society. But at its core, the progress and the language is really similar.
Well, that, and I mean, going back to another topic that we talked about years ago, um, Truman was absolutely convinced that the Germans had knowledge of anti gravity.
Hmm.
So that goes into, see, one of the things with the breakaway civilization is that they have access to y- tech that we're not even familiar with, and they've had access to it a long time. Anti gravity being one of those, free power being another one. A lot of Tesla's inventions,
Hmm.
broadcasting energy over through the air, his death ray, things like that. a lot of the suppressed technology. The reason why I started with the Invention Secrecy Act is because a lot of one of the things that the breakaway civilizations rely on is advanced technology, because that's how they have been able to break away and be independent and unreliant
Yes.
on the larger civilization.
Yeah, and as was it Agent K on Men in Black would say, would occasionally release the advanced technology to the public to help keep funding certain things. Like
Right.
it intellectually, even if you discard the alien and UFO aspect of it, the breakaway civilization, God, I hate saying it, just makes so much sense.
Well, the worst part of it is it makes sense, and it also proves we ain't them because they keep throwing us bones every so often. I mean, where did things like Velcro come from? Because they kind of came out of the middle of nowhere. Just like all of a sudden we like have this stuff that you can basically it seals together and not in any way that we knew before. But yeah, it just proves that, and it's one of those things, and it's something that's been bugging me for a while because, and it's the same kind of thing because we have all of this technology and all this knowledge, and nobody really knows where the hell it came from. It's just all of a sudden it was available to us. So there's two options. There's either some sort of extraterrestrial outside influence, or there is some sort of influence that's been here all along and is occasionally just throwing us a bone to keep us distracted, or possibly
See,
both.
the, the term I discovered, the term I discovered today when researching this is a term I had never actually heard before, but it actually one, I like it, and it kind of it kind of makes sense not only with this, because there's three classifications of it, um, and that is crypto terrestrial, and that kind of goes with the cryptid thing too, but it falls under three categories. You've got the aliens who live among us, kind of like an MIB, um, or Jeff.
Yeah.
You've got an ancient civilization that didn't fall with the rest of them. Your Atlantis, your all of your great your El Dorado, all your Shangri-La, all the mythical, um air quote mythical
Yeah.
havens of technology and utopia that exist in an island independent of us. And then you have the third kind, and that is the elite, the super intelligent, what Jeff was talking about, and that they have their secret societies and enclaves, and also have their own. Um, it's they'll fly in private jets for show, but it's rumored they have portal technology. They have, where they, you just kind of like, Stargate from one room to another.
hmm
Um, you know, and so I mean that's kind of fun with that too. And they're not they're not mutually exclusive either. Any of these three groups, if there's any of these three groups, can all intermingle and move with each other, because if you're at that height, that enhanced state, of course you're going to be aware of some. You're kind of like Neo once he figures out, that
Yes.
that it's, you can see the code and realize, okay, that's a battery, that's an agent kind of thing.
Yeah, and it would explain so many things. Either any of really the three tiers that I like to call the breakaway civilization has. We often stop and ponder, how did something become so mainstream? Like, I know Rick has mentioned many a times on this show, and you've mentioned it as well. When did UFOs become accepted, commonplace, not a stigma? We seem to Something seems to be controlling the flow of information that, okay, all of a sudden this is acceptable. Okay, 20 years ago it was weird to see a transgendered person, and now we're nothing but inundated with them. As
Sure.
one aspect of society. It's like, why is that? It's like so many. If you were, I love the game theory. If you were afraid someone broke away from your society, aka Elon, and was about to reveal some information, is trying to break what you're doing, you would throw every distraction and chaos into the system to protect yourself. that you possibly could. And it just
Yeah.
like I said, to my brain, it just makes so much sense. You look at the drones. Why were the drones sent out that had all these weirdness, but yet still followed FAA lighting rules? Well, easiest explanation is they wanted us to be distracted by something and to maybe demonstrate to other people across the world who may be rising up and going, hey, we're kind of sick of this one world bullshit. That look, we have technology that you don't understand. Why are we releasing the TikTok video, or not TikTok, but TikTok? Sorry, different whole scenario there. But the TikTok video that breaks all defiance of physics as we understand it. These are just little gentle reminders to the plebes and most of Earth that, hey, we're better than you. We know more than you, and pay attention to us and respect our authority.
We were talking about it before the show with the drones, and where did they go? Because we were talking about how we hadn't done a show for a while. What else was going on at that time that was absolutely chewing the news up for? But it's not a rhetorical question. I'm trying to remember
Yeah,
because
I can't
it
remember.
worked.
That's just
It
it.
worked. I forgot what the other thing going on at the time was.
Yeah. And well, just for the record, I rarely forget anything. And yeah, I can't remember what
But there was something political going on. I remember. And it was the omnibus when they were trying to pass
Oh,
that
yes.
1,500
Yes.
page. Yeah, it's like well, all that was going on. Hey guys, here's some drones. Don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to what we're doing. Fuck, they caught us.
Yeah, and you guys have talked about this on a handful of episodes about the Disney connection, the Hollywood connection, that people are masters of distraction, of look over here, look at this, look at that. And it is so commonplace that I hate saying there are puppet masters leading people around, but the breakaway civilization, whether alien or not, really does demonstrate that this is at least feasible, and makes it understandable to a degree why we are seeing some of the things we are.
You know what this whole thing reminded me of while I was researching it was the silence from Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a good takeaway on that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because you think, even then, it's kind of like a wife of a wife of a man who I knew, but his wife, he had Q clearance, and this was back when X-Files was a thing, and he would just comment on what she would tell me. He would comment on watching the show is that Chris Carter knows somebody. And I have a feeling that Stephen Moffat kind of knows somebody too, because they kind of always hide those things in the show. And so it's just kind of I was just thinking about it. It's like, okay, so you have this breakaway civilization that is kind of like living in tunnels underneath the earth.
Well, and you guys have said for years on doing this show that, not to make you feel old or anything, but Hollywood at times seems to get things so.
We're coming up on 6 years in April, so you can't really make us feel any older.
Okay, fair point. But Hollywood gets so many things accurate at times ahead of the time. And there has been a supposition that maybe they are just releasing this information to prep us for what's coming next, what's coming this. And I have to say, I've been, ever since I got my Sirius XM subscription, my Jeep, I've been listening to a lot of Glenn Beck from 9 to 12. And it's been what, a decade since I listened to him regularly. But he's been talking about the drones a lot, and some of the aspects of interdimensional beings and quantum computing. And it's kind of fascinating, especially coming from the computing world, what quantum computers can do and theoretically are doing, that if a breakaway civilization had this 20, 25 years ago, which is feasible because it's physics and it's all 100% mathematically confirmed that they could have been doing this 20 to 25 years, and we're just now catching up because they've been slowly reducing. Makes you think what else is coming. You know, it
Well,
really
I mean, just
is.
look at computing in general. I mean, basically, modern computing as we know it,
Oh,
didn't really start until early 90s. I
yes,
mean, yeah,
yes,
we all had our Commodore 64s, we all had our 286s and shit like that. But computing as we know it I mean, modern computing didn't really start until we were moving at a blazing fast 33.6
yeah,
kilobytes,
yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I
you know?
remember when that seemed so fast.
I know.
Now,
These
now we're
naked
pissed
photos.
off if it takes more than a minute to download 15 gigabytes.
Oh my god, this fucking app is taking forever. It is so much bloatware. Yeah.
Took
So,
longer to sign on the AOL than it does to download an entire movie now.
right, but I mean, so you think about it, that wasn't even 30 years ago, and not
Yeah.
much has changed since then. I mean, I know that it's been talked about on other shows. Um, I'm pretty sure Al was talking about it this week too. I think it was Al that was talking about it, and that really nothing's really changed in that
No.
time. So, I mean, we were on this rapid climb of technology and advancement, and then all of a sudden we've kind of peaked
Yes.
for now, and it's like in a way that we haven't peaked in a long time, not like since the end of the Industrial Revolution, which tells me that we're probably at the end of the technological revolution, and the next phase is coming, or we start regressing, one of the two.
One of the two. I do believe quantum computing is. Well, I won't lie to you. I am scared about it. Only because I know from the physics side of it what it could potentially do, and that scares the bejesus out of me. But
Just because all the publications downplay it. They're just
yes,
like, yeah, it's not that cool. It's not
ye-
going to make your gaming that much better. No, you're right. It's not going to make my gaming that much faster. But it's you know, it's awesome and scary in other ways that, it's like, oh, I can't wait to you're not going to have a quantum computer on your desk. You're going to
yeah,
have you're going to be attached, you're going to be networked to a quantum computer, and then that's going to be the yeah.
and it tying into the breakaway civilization and quantum computing. Part of quantum computing, the theory goes that at the quantum level you can tap into multiverse. And it would be the easiest way to have a true breakaway civilization from all the smart people that were born or created on Earth would to be living in a multiverse. They're living in another version of ours that can traverse whichever one they want to go in with whatever knowledge, whatever technology they want. With quantum computing, if it can possibly tap into that, because once again, quantum physics does prove to some level that actually could exist. We are looking at, instead of a computer going through 2.5 billion permutations one after another, we're looking at it going 2.5 billion permutations at once.
Simultaneously, yeah, multi-threading becomes a joke.
Yes, yes. So we, I love my whole idea of this episode with Breakaway Civilization is kind of a reinforcement of what you two have done over, well, as Rick said in April, 6 years of stuff. When we went to the moon, why did we stop going? It the easiest answer is it just wasn't spectacular. It wasn't cost efficient. But I know one of the things you talked about is we were told not to anymore.
Yeah, well, I
And
mean, and that's
what better place to put a breakaway civilization?
that kind of goes with, I mean, a little bit of Richard C. Hoagland, and some other, you know, alternative theories, conspiratainment, whatever you want to call it, that most of the pictures of the dark side of the moon you see seem airbrushed.
Yes.
The resolution isn't as hot as you would on the light side. And it's been posited that there's over 200 structures that have to be airbrushed out every time someone decides they want to take pictures of the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
And Yeah. So yeah, I mean, no better place. Again with the silence, tunnels under the earth, hollow earth. Yeah, even Antarctica. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
Hoagland's kind of made himself a joke, but it's still the some of his ideas. I was responding to MD in the chat. Some of his ideas. I don't want to say they're sound, but they're interesting to posit.
yeah, and you know, even the worst people have a good idea or truth statement every now and then. I won't mention his name, but you could point to some really evil people that you can sit there and go, yeah, they might have had a point on issue
Boy, that
72.
Genghis Khan had some pretty good ideas.
Right? Yeah, yeah. It's horrible to say it, but not every evil person has a bad idea, or every stupid person has a bad idea, unless you're me. Then it seems to reveal itself every week. But it's yeah. What is really fascinating to me is it is the naysayers on this is will say that the breakaway civilization is too it explains too much of all the scenarios. It's too much of an easy bake oven of, oh hey, I need to fit this conspiracy, this conspiracy, this conspiracy, and this conspiracy. How do I make it all work?
Right.
But at the same time, isn't that kind of Occam's razor
That's what I was
definition?
about to say. That's what I
Right?
was about to say.
Yeah.
Is it sounds more like Occam's razor. I mean, think about this for a second, though. If there is, in fact, an offshoot of human civilization, whether it's spread out to the moon, under the earth, wherever, what better way to hide from the stupid, the redneck cousins than to portray yourself as aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. I try. Like I said, I game theory. I think I game theory so much my brain hurts at times, and I have to take breaks. You can look at some benign things. Like if you want to conspiracy theory something, why is Pluto now not a planet?
Yeah, it's just been pretty much. I mean,
Freaking Neil deGrasse
by
Tyson.
doing that, all intents
Yeah.
and purposes, just kind of took its. Oh, that's just another Kuiper Belt object now, or it's the king of the
Yeah,
dwarf
don't
planets. or
look
whatever.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to see
It,
there.
it doesn't. There's nothing to see here. It doesn't matter anymore. Speaking of which, I just recently rewatched the episode of Atlantis where Rodney was giving Neil deGrasse Tyson shit about Pluto. I thought that was
Nice.
amazing.
Mhm.
But yeah, no,
Jesus Christ, Jules Sadi busting Bill Nye's balls.
that actually has become one of
Not
my
now,
sleeping
Nye.
That's
But,
actually
no.
become one of
Al
my
has a good point in
favorite
chat.
episodes.
Al has an interesting theory in chat too. He says he thinks the breakaway civilization is a version of Ender's Game, where autistic geniuses are being used real time for assassinations and starting wars. While they think they're playing a video game.
Funny thing is, I was about to postulate the reverse. What if there is not technically a breakaway civilization, but we are actually not part of that civilization because we're all in a computer outside of the actual civilization in a simulation?
Mhm.
Oh, that's a
100%
totally
could
different
be.
show.
Well,
Yeah.
not necessarily.
No,
because-
yeah.
Not necessarily.
No,
Because we would still see that as a breakaway civilization from in here, but it would also explain some of the things we were just talking about, like the random drops of technological upgrades that just appear.
And
No,
and
I mean,
one-
actually, right after I dismissed it, I said, "Now wait a second." It was kind of like that meme with the woman
Yeah.
going, "Nah," and then wait, nah.
Well,
So
and in one of the articles you posted, the UFO Digest one, there's a comment that really sticks out to me with as far as the breakaway theory that goes from the 1973 period up to 1991. There were, if I'm not mistaken, 281 such anomalous events recorded by the DSP satellites. The guy would go on and say, now, I'm not saying that every one of these recorded anomalous events are ET craft, but a number of them are really bizarre. For example, one that took place around 1984, recorded by satellite, showed an object that approached it to within a certain very close distance and then moved away. In fact, it approached from a point in deep space and then moved on. we have such an open window where space travel was Neanderthalish, and it's easy to explain. Oh well, everything with the American space race to get into the moon was done at such a breakneck speed on chalkboards that not everything was written down.
Right. Everything, yeah. So, well, why can't you build a Saturn V today? Well, most of those were custom made.
Yeah,
Here's the design. Here's the blueprints for it. But we found out that one really didn't work, so we took a hammer to this thing and bashed in a bit, a couple millimeters, and then it works. So we just forgot to take that notation.
yes, and that is absolutely feasible. But the people that were part of that program didn't die off, didn't die out.
No. Well, I mean, until recent. I mean, one of my
Yeah,
neighbors, he designed the second stage booster, the Saturn V, and he passed away about 10 years ago. He was one of my Thanksgiving feeders, and but he
so
had
the
some interesting stories.
information,
But yeah,
yeah, the information was still accessible. No one wanted to
right.
access it. And one of the easier ways to explain it is this breakaway civilization said, "Don't. You can't do it
MD,
anymore."
we can't build an F-22 anymore, much
Yeah,
less a B-29.
yeah.
We can't build the kid anymore.
It's that's the part that always entertains me is that the knowledge was never lost. So where did it go? Why was it not pursued? Why was it not? Why these guys and gals were intelligent minds? Why did they not write it down afterwards? Even if
Right.
they didn't have specific. Oh, we hit this panel 7 times with a size 3 hammer. I get it, but they would have had knowledge that yeah, we had to make some fine tune adjustments, and might we remember roughly in hammer and this and that,
Yeah.
and
To make this adjustment, so it's like, okay, the bell on the rocket needs to be concave at the end, by a couple millimeters or a couple centimeters. That's the kind of thing. It's like, okay, for the next rocket we build, do this with it.
yeah, and I swear I am not making this up. What really brought this to mind was a recent Fat Electrician video
Mm,
about my hero and idol, Simo.
Simo, hey, that's a real name.
When
That's not just doing.
I know, right? the This man who never tried to get his story published wrote and recorded everything, and it wasn't found until 2017.
Right.
So it just makes me wonder what knowledge is still out there to be found by someone's nephew or niece that, oh, hey, they did this, they did that. Or has it been purposely secluded and found because they were working on a more top secretish project than just your absolutely wonderful idea of killing commies?
Right.
So, is this information still accessible? Was it taken into a civilization? You guys have mentioned Tesla, and on that episode, you talked about how everyone came in and seemed to have raided his apartment and everything, took all the notes. A breakaway
Hmm.
civilization is the easiest explanation of who took it and why we don't know about it anymore.
Well, and
Yeah,
the other thing with the breakaway civilization too is that it if you look at the actual size of the U.S. Defense Department's black budget, it, the dollars there don't even account for the worst case scenario of everything that every project that is under their black budget
yes,
costing more than it should. I mean, the black budget is huge compared to what is actually being worked on. That can't all be going to R&D. That can't all be going to covert operations. That can't all be going to there. I mean, and the only thing that really, when you put a price tag on it, the thing again, Occam's razor is, oh yeah, there's a secret space program.
yeah,
Only a space program could cost that much.
ten
And you
percent for
wonder
the
why we lost interest in, I mean, not just society, but it's why, it's like the thing with when you look at the progression of military surveillance equipment, you go from the U-2 to the SR-71 to spy satellites. You have a
yeah,
linear path. You have nothing after the shuttle program. Yeah, they're talking about Artemis, and that's fine and everything, but we went from one to the next with only small gaps.
Hmm.
This has been a very large gap with no space program. I mean, for a while we were counting on the Russians to get us into space, and
Yes.
now we're paying an autistic South African to do it.
Right, right. And now we have these big gigantic metal arms catching rockets.
Yeah.
You know,
We're
like
catching rockets with chopsticks. We're Miyagi with flies.
right.
Men who catch rocket with chopstick can do anything.
Yeah, I mean I do find it hysterical that the understanding of rocketry is as advanced as it is, but spacecraft in itself, leaving low Earth orbit, seems to still be a struggle for us. I do find
Right.
that a little fascinating. But one of the things I love with this theory too is, and I would love to talk about it after a break, is the highly specific alien aspect of why would aliens participate with a breakaway civilization? What is the benefits of an alien race from, say, Alpha Centauri B? That why would we want to separate some of these people from the everyday plebes? And what would it benefit an alien civilization for having a breakaway civilization here on Earth?
We do believe you may again be the fifth race, O'Neill.
I mean, I'm not saying no, but it's a lot of earthly explanation for breakaway civilization makes sense. Why would aliens be a part of it?
I
Well,
don't know.
that's one. That's something to posit as we go into break. But real quick,
Yeah.
Al made a good point too. Is remember the Star Wars project? The only thing keeping it from being real was geosynchronous orbit technology, the same technology that we use a lot today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not.
Which it still blows my mind that we didn't have geosync orbit tech in the 80s. Reliable geosync orbit tech.
Yeah, reliable. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we did. They just didn't want us to know.
Well, that's just it. We probably did.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break.
Let's do that.
I need a refill.
We skipped the middle break anyway, so we got to take top of the hour. All right, folks, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. More on the other side. You are listening to Juxtaposition live on KLRNradio.com. Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Are you ready to reach for the stars? Tune in to The Lost Wanderer, the #1 monthly podcast on good pods in astronomy. Join our host, Jeff, as he takes you on an interstellar adventure to explore the mysteries of space and the wonders of science. From rocket launches and distant galaxies to the latest discoveries in astronomy, each episode is a thrilling ride through the cosmos. Don't just gaze at the stars, come explore the universe with us. Follow The Lost Wanderer wherever you get your podcasts, and let's discover the stars together.
My dad was really, really special, and I love my dad a lot.
I'm proud of him,
and that even though he isn't here with us, but he died as a true hero. I miss everything about him.
In the moment that the officers and I had to come see the children, my biggest reaction was, I don't have 7 arms. I have 7 children who just lost their father, and I don't have 7 arms to wrap around them.
I'm Frank Silla, chairman of the Stephen Silla Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Our foundation is committed to delivering mortgage-free homes for Gold Star families and fallen first responder families.
To not have to worry financially is a huge peace of mind. The thought of, what in the world will I possibly do to pay the bills? How will I possibly let the children have a life that feels normal? I don't want them to have to quit their piano lessons or their basketball. I don't want them to feel that we have to move into a little apartment and struggle financially in addition to the emotional weight.
There are over 1,000 families that need our help. Tunnel to Towers is honoring those heroes that risk their lives by providing them with mortgage-free homes.
Those who serve us and then lay down their lives protecting our freedoms and our safety, the least we can do is $11 a month to give them that peace of always knowing there's a home, there's that sanctuary when life feels like it's been tipped upside down, because it has, when you lose a parent in the line of duty, to know you can go home, you can be safe, there's no risk of losing your home. That's a peace of mind that I can't believe you can get for $11 a month.
I'd like to ask you to contribute $11 a month to support their efforts.
Please donate $11 a month by calling 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our government was established to secure these rights and for the good that comes from exercising them well. This is why the founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire. Hillsdale College, pursuing truth and defending liberty since 1844.
Ready to learn some medieval combat, kiddo?
You bet, Dad. Let's do this.
You know, spending quality time with your kids is important, but finding a fun and safe way to do it can really be a challenge. That's where halberds come in. Halberds are the perfect way to bond with your kid while teaching them about history and physical fitness. Plus, they're a blast to play with. So next time you're looking for some family fun activity, grab a halberd and get ready to make some memories.
Come on, Dad. Round 2.
Halberds, bringing families together one medieval battle at a time. This commercial brought to you by the KLRNradio.com Ad Council.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Green man in the desert night, Bigfoot roaming out of sight. Government shadows, secrets deep, conspiracies unfold while we sleep. Strange encounters unexplained, truth is out that really shame. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling history, stories untold. Area 51, a whispered name. UFO sightings, a haunting flame. Loch Ness monster, a watery man. those who want to be a curious gift. Strange encounters unexplained. Truth is out there, bravely chained. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling mystery, stories untold. Fear takes doubt, believers yearn for answers hidden yet to learn. In the twilight zone where logic ends, the search continues without end. Strange encounters unexplained. Truth is out there, bravely chained. Men with knowledge, voices bold, unraveling mystery, stories untold. Truth is out there. Truth is out there.
I always forget that's at the very end. I always change away from there before that. Welcome back into the program, ladies and gentlemen. Hour 2, and we've gone almost virtually commercial free other than the top of the hour stuff. But it's because there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and we haven't done one of these in forever. To answer your question, MD, I have heard about it. I have not yet watched it. I probably will after the show, though. Thanks for reminding me. But anyway, so we're back. We're live,
He's
and we're
talking about the signal.
Hmm?
Huh?
Yeah, no, he was talking about a short that Terry Shapper was in.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. I've heard about it. I haven't watched it yet. But anyway, apparently he
I
from
haven't heard of it.
from what I've seen, he played a much more convincing Man in Black than Will Smith. But after watching Will Smith, behave like a bitch, not surprising.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, was that out loud? My bad.
My,
But
how they
anyway.
roll.
Anyway, we're talking about breakaway civilizations and all the different little handy things that come with it. And this is hour 2. By the way, guys, I know you can't see the numbers because I know this now because I've finally been on the other side of a restream feed. I know you guys can't see the numbers except for your own. We have almost 750 hanging out with us right now, so say hello.
Nice. Who am I? Why am I here?
We ask ourselves that question every time we invite them on here.
I know.
Oh, now I know how other people feel when I start playing with my soundboard when they're the ones producing. First time I did
Vengeance
that,
is sweet.
first time I did that with Steve, he was like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah, first time I did it, I got his video taken down because I played something copyrighted.
Whoopsie. You see what happened was the funny thing is I'm actually a lot of that stuff is starting to go away. Like I've noticed on like Facebook now, if you play like music, it'll flag you for a second and then it'll say we've now determined who the rights to this music are. If this video makes any money, you have to share it with them. I'm like, I'm kind of cool with that.
Yeah, I would rather do that than just say get banned. Let them get some of the profits. And did we just lose Amish?
It looks like it. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he didn't come back from the break well. So we'll see if he comes back in a second.
The government got him.
Yeah, black helicopter. Either that or somebody yelled Alexa 3 times and his internet crashed.
Yeah, true. So one of the questions I had about breakaway theory is trying to understand an alien mindset. And I know it's jokes aside with me being one, it is a exercise in futility to try to understand an alien brain properly because they're not going to think like us necessarily.
Well, I mean, if you don't mind, I'm going to stop you right there for a second because just to put this into perspective, look at how much difference in how our minds work between Western civilization and Eastern civilization. Now imagine that in a completely separate, not even on the same evolutionary scale civilization, and imagine what the disconnects would be.
Yes, and there used to be an old improper saying that Einstein had trouble remembering his own phone number, which is absolutely asinine. But there are people, especially what we know as autism now, who are high thinkers who may have actually some form of telepathy and access to knowledge we don't understand. With people who are intelligent normally, if you will, our understanding of intelligence, I still think, is rather juvenile in nature of what is needed. Like so many people in quote unquote civilized cities who couldn't tell you how to plant corn will look at farmers as being idiots. And yet, the details that are required in the intelligence of knowing crop rotation and soil consistency is actually top tier, intelligence when applied. And I go back to this one story all the time. This friend of mine, friend of the family, was oh god, he couldn't pass high school math. He failed high school. He had to go through try to get his GED, and he just could not do math. And my friend and I, we would laugh at him not because he was stupid, but because we would say, "No, dude, you're actually very smart math-wise." Because he was a carpenter, he was a builder. He could look at things, uh, materials needed to build a wall, to build a small hut, and know instantly, "Okay, I need this many 4 by 4s, I need this much plywood, I need this material," and the numbers were 100% accurate, but he just couldn't write down the math that he was doing in his head. So, internally, you could tell the dude was highly intellectual, but because he couldn't put it on paper, he couldn't pass high school. So the way we look at intelligence is I think, a universal problem, and to think about alien, uh, intelligence, one of the, research, papers and links that you sent for the show was about Harvard researchers propose odd theory, could aliens walk among us? Well, A, here I am, but B, it's an interesting theory because what is alien? Is Stephen Hawking an alien compared to a group of kindergartners? I mean, besides him maybe being sexually attracted to them, what is, the alien? Would he be considered an alien if someone else came into the room and they say, "Oh, this guy's in a wheelchair, can barely talk," and he's a bunch of 6-year-olds are running around doing things, putting blocks in the appropriate spot. You may look at the 6-year-olds as being more intelligent than the guy in the wheelchair who can't speak and do things.
Yeah, the whole all that stuff coming out about Hawking actually kind of broke my heart. He was always kind of a nerdish hero of mine. And I was like, "Are you kidding me right now? Really?
I
Really?"
want the unreleased tapes on NDT. I know they're out there. I know. I know they're out there. I want to take that man down. It's a personal vendetta.
He's just so fucking smug in the most annoying way possible. I mean, I'm pretty fucking smug, and I look at him, I go, Jesus Christ.
I mean, is he really smug, or is it just the monotone robotic voice that makes him seem that way?
Are you talking about Hawking or Tyson?
I don't know who we're talking about at this point.
No, we're talking about Tyson.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
But that dude, I don't know. I don't even know why he's as smug as he is.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah, I've seen some dirt on him, and not the the false sexual harassment. Just the way that he got his degree is pretty shady.
And if you ever saw his family on the episode of Jeopardy, you'll hate him even more. But
now I have to go look for it.
Trust me, you will cringe at his arrogance. Now, the question I have, and welcome back, Orty. Glad you could come back and join us.
Yeah. No, my power flicked just long enough to make my PC reboot. So
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
I want to, because I'm biased. I know the answer, so I want to ask you two. With a breakaway society, what relation? Why would aliens have anything to do with a breakaway civilization involving people of Earth?
Well, okay, so in my opinion, the reason why they would be that I mean this would be kind of like that scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind at the end where they had the people that were actually selected to go, as part of go and live with the ETs, kind of like to impart our knowledge to them, and it's kind of like the best of the best of us. We're to go along with them to educate them, just for a sharing of technology and cultural, to understand each other better. And that's the only legitimate. I mean, okay, so I'm kind of putting human morals and you know
Mhm.
ethos on an alien civilization. But yeah, unless they are also the elites who are just kind yeah, we're not dealing with the great unwashed of your planet, that they do spend a lot of time being teasers.
Yeah.
Um, we're not going to deal with them. We're dealing. We need to deal with the secret society because your civilization just isn't ready for us. Which kind of goes along with every UFO theory there is.
Yes.
So, that's if there was a breakaway civilization, that would be that would be the legitimate one that I would see for interacting with aliens.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're their intergalactic charity case.
See, my theory behind it, and oh god, I don't know what show you guys. I don't know if it was a Rick and Morty episode or not, where you eventually turned around the Stargate and Stargate universe. And my comment in chat about that is, I think what lies behind why aliens would be involved in a breakaway civilization is, you look at Stargate, SG-1. You had Daniel Jackson and, for a couple seasons, Jonas Quinn.
Hmm.
They were the heart of that team. If you look at other Stargate iterations, they're lacking that heart, and it shows. They're still good, entertaining shows, but there's something missing. And then, once again, looking at SG-1, you look at the Asgard race, and highly intelligent, very systematic. They're looking for DNA replacement, which makes sense. But you don't. The way it's written is they don't have that heart either. So, are we possibly unique in the universe where our heart, our conscious, is enough of a difference that people would be curious about us and want us to maybe help instill? And in a perverse way, there's a good chance that by them having the quote unquote higher intelligence people, they may actually be missing out on a lot of it, which is why we see all these struggles day to day.
I mean that's that's right. Oh, one correction though is that universe did have Eli, but yeah, that was the universe. We don't talk
He
about
was
universe.
a heart, but not Jonas and Daniel.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I mean, Eli was the heart in as much as they tried to make McKay the heart of Atlantis, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
But more so. So, we have to look at Earthlings as, what do we bring at the table that would make a breakaway civilization? And I do think, no, I'm sorry, I can't think of any other better word. I do think the humanity of us make it an interesting aspect for an outsider to come view us.
But wouldn't the concept of a breakaway civilization preclude, eliminate the fact that they would be the ones with the heart, that because they're taking the elite. When you look at the way
Yeah.
government, the military
Yeah.
industrial entertainment complex works, they're taking the worst people who are the best at what they do.
And if I may say, I think this is
not immoral,
why
but amoral.
Yeah, and I think this is why the breakaway civilization fails more times than it succeeds, and we need the distractions, because they don't understand the core. They don't understand the mass of everyone else around them. So they're trying to do all this stuff, and occasionally we get hit with this, this, and this, and they're like, well, wait a minute. Why is this person able to see what we're doing? Why are they doing? Because they don't understand the human thought process, because they are at a different process of their way.
Right.
It's
What I wanted to mention when we came back from the break, unfortunately, right when my PC mentioned, I wanted to, one of the best explanations for the breakaway civilization, and this kind of goes with that too, would be, one of the best ways to explain it would be if you go back 200 years and then you were to take you know, a European and then just drop them in the Amazon. The two experiences, the two world experiences, the way that they look at the world, the technological differences. Somebody from in the Amazon and then somebody in Central Europe, during the 1800s, or in the Eastern United States during the 1800s, they're not even on the same playing field.
Yes.
It's just they can't relate to each other. And to your point that you were making is that in that thing, you have, in this case, the technologically advanced, people who are unable to relate to nature anymore, the way that the Amazonian would be able
Yes.
to relate to nature. And kind of the same thing is that they would be unable to relate to just basic human thought processes anymore, because they're so up there, to crass it up a little bit, they're so up their own ass that they don't see what's obvious to everyone. And when they do, like to your point, when they do something that they quickly have to obfuscate, um it's kind of like, well, this is you thought you were being clever, this is just fucking obvious to everybody.
Well, and it I'm going to use an X interaction, like I think it was happening during Asgard North, but it might have been shortly after, where you responded to someone who doesn't believe the satanic panic happened. It's like it's just a completely foreign thought that people could have looked at D&D or music as, it's a satanic panic. The difference of eras and times and thought processes, they're on display every day if you stop and take a look. And if you try to expand it to an alien race who is absolute, I mean, please forgive me for making this comparison, but I think it's apt. Look at what's going on, unfortunately, in your state, and look at what's going on in the Appalachians and how the two react to it.
Right.
Those largely those two groups of individuals in the same country on the same planet, their thought processes are largely different. At least as what we're being presented. I'm sure they're a lot closer than I'm giving them credit for here, but you understand what I'm talking about. There's just enough thought processes between one coast and the other, depending on where you live, that the breakaway civilization, you could see where it would succeed, because you are trying to bring the brightest and smartest, and whatever gifts they do bring in are recruited, and just the people that are making it happen, who you would look at that as, you're like, oh, these people are stupid, but yet here are the ones repairing their 78 Ford pickup truck and are keeping it running.
Right. They understand how seeds work.
Yes. So the breakaway civilization only works, in my opinion, if you embrace the totality of humankind. You can't have a breakaway civilization with just one cog when the watch needs 24 to operate.
Right.
So it's my one. Oh God, I hope I don't get banned from a newspaper for saying this. It's the one chink in the armor that I struggle with the breakaway theory. You would really, anything intelligent enough to understand that you need everything doesn't need a breakaway civilization. If that makes sense.
I'm pondering.
Me too. I'm like,
no, it doesn't.
You just drop some deepness. I'm like, no, I just never really thought of it like that.
But that said, I could see the U.S. government trying to do it because they fuck up everything.
Right. A government in general, any government.
Yeah, I could see an alien race fucking it up because they don't understand humanity and not understanding that, it's that individual who just shows up every day, does his job, plants those seeds, gets that truck running again. It is more or equally important as the guy at Harvard trying to understand quantum physics. On paper, you're going to look at the guy doing the quantum physics going, oh, God, he's a genius. But so is that other guy. And that is where I think we fail, and a lot of people fail understanding the components of Breakaway Civilization. I'm going to really blow your mind here. The part more so. At one point on Earth, we considered ourselves the center of the universe. What if we truly are? We are the breakaway civilization that was put here for a purpose.
And even 20 years ago, that seemed likely. But as we're getting better, discovering exoplanets, we still haven't found anything earthy. We've found Earth-like.
Yes.
We've found Earth possible, but we haven't found anything earthy. And we found several thousand planets now. And the odds of us being unique are slim.
Mathematically slim, but yes, not
Yeah.
And you you look at things like octopus, starfish that really don't follow a lot of other scenarios within the normal Earth physics and geology and everything. That just doesn't biology. That doesn't seem to fit 100% in the theory. This is right. What the hell is a duck-billed platypus? I mean that. But you look at it and go, what makes the breakaway civilization plausible is not only can we see it as something we would do, something an alien race would do, but in totality, you really could see it as us being that breakaway civilization that is as meant as the great experiment, the great, okay, this is the fishbowl that makes everything work. And maybe we're underutilizing that aspect of our civilization that we're not breaking away until recently, where we're starting to get over into the platinum age of discovery. We're getting into the quantum computing. We're getting into the idea of actually landing a ship on Mars and bringing people back home is now just not some sci-fi on a bad TV series. It's now, for the first time, legitimate. We could have been that petri dish of a breakaway civilization from someone else, whether it be from the Wong family farm on Mars.
Well, believe it or not, this is a callback to, I think, second, third, or fourth episode of Juxtaposition, when we talked about the hollow moon and how there are theories that it might actually be a spaceship that was used to bring us here. But in the vein of us potentially being the breakaway society, who says that this isn't the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or even millionth time that we've reached this level of technology? And this is usually right about the time we screw something up and everything gets reset and we start over.
Yes, it was oh God, was it Carl Sagan who said the most likely outcome of human civilization is destruction because we don't know how to utilize the tools at our hand? It's why we'll never proceed.
I think that was Sagan. Yeah, I think that was in the small blue dot.
Yeah, it's why many people suggest in the Kardashev scale we'll never hit one. We'll never hit the first tier because humanity is doomed to repeat itself and fail because we seem to advance further in our technological skill than our ability to understand the downsides, and we see it every day. I mean, I know it's a small chasm of society, but you look at X and some of the things that people post on X, like the president can all of a sudden say that the 28th Amendment is actually law now, even though it's and you have people of alleged intelligence going, oh yeah, he's right, he's right, he's right,
dude. Like fucking people with gray check marks are like,
yes.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Anyway. So that's one of the reasons I love the Kardashev scale as well, because any society that can get past 1 probably would never be visited or seen by anyone under the scale of 1. So now the question is, are there out there? Are they would they entertain it? Would they, would they pull away the people to try to get other civilizations to that level 1 Kardashev scale by utilizing breakaway civilization that could help that planet get to that point? And yeah.
Well, so just, in this same thought process, you had asked the reason of why they might want to interact with us, but I think you may have just started formulating an answer to your own question. What if it's not that we have wiped ourselves out repeatedly? What if we've reached a significant enough advancement point that the people that have reached that have been removed? Because what if we're like some sort of galactic laboratory? It would explain so many things, like all the weird animals that make no sense and just
Kind of like the first ones in Babylon 5.
yeah.
They evolved so far out that they just kind of, okay, we're going to go out to the fringe, and y'all do your thing. We're out here, contemplating our own magnificence.
And I'm going to introduce a completely new theory. It just came to my brain. What if the breakaway civilization is a prison for people that would interfere with our becoming a Kardashev 1 scale, because the people that they are getting rid of don't understand ethics and morals?
There's an
Well, on
so
the other end of that too
you're,
is that
you're basically saying the breakaway civilization is our version of the Phantom Zone.
Yes.
See that okay, that reminds me of, it was either in Outer Limits or when they redid the Twilight Zone in the mid to late 80s. There was an episode where the parents kept telling the kid, go out and play, have fun, and he's like, no, because there's apparently this big test that everybody in society has to take. And it was like, and he's like, no, I really want to study for this test, it's important I do well. And the parents kept trying to say, no, just go out and have a good time, you'll do fine on the test. And it comes to the end of it that the parents receive notification from the powers that be, the government, whatever it was, saying your son passed the test, so he achieved a score, blah 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 blah. Where would you like his remains sent? Where if you scored too high, they just took you out.
Yeah.
To go with your theory. So it's kind of like that. Okay, so the breakaway society is a prison to isolate them, because they are going to disrupt society and civilization with like Tesla. If he had the money to do the things he had wanted to do, he absolutely would have disrupted the status quo. For the better in many cases, except for that fucking death ray.
Well, I could see some benefits to the death ray.
And that was definitely a mad. That was a mutually assured destruction. But also his earthquake machine.
Yeah, that one. Well,
I mean, that was unintentional. He wanted it to do something else, and then he almost shook the building apart. So,
I mean,
it got named the earthquake machine because when the police arrived, he said, no, there must have just been a very localized earthquake in Long Island.
Yes.
And Al has just interjected the Star Trek 4 theory.
Well, yes.
What if none of this is actually about us and humans?
What if it's the whales or the dolphins or the hitchhikers, the mice? And we can expand looking at it from this angle, the breakaway theory. Orty, did I mention I really like this theory?
Yeah. So when you dropped it on me the other day, I could tell you're like, oh, you guys should really do this sometime. And it's like I was looking at some of the material we hadn't used yet. I'm like, okay, well, that's Christmas stuff. And there's the lost technology. And then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's ship it. Send it. And then I'm looking at it, I said, this falls into the lost technology. So this could actually be a start of dovetail this into the lost tech or the forbidden technology.
Absolutely. And if you take the reverse breakaway civilization that we are, and we've been it for a very, very long time. And to Rick's point, what if this isn't the first attempt? When you
Well,
look
and that
at, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that goes with the the ancient civilizations didn't disappear.
Yes.
They just secluded themselves.
Yeah. What if,
That goes with the whole, like I said, Shangri-La and not so much Atlantis, but the
yes.
you know El
What
Dorado and so on and so forth.
what if attempt one failed and they realized what they were missing? So attempt two took place. And they said, you know what? We there's like 7 continents. There's going to be a whole bunch of people. What if we put, oh, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 religions out there to try to guide people to give them an implant of moral and ethics? Because what we noticed in attempt A was the self-serving side of humanity, of the civilization. They got close, but they ended up destroying themselves. So now attempt B, C, D, or E, whatever we're at with this breakaway civilization, we're like, hey, we give them some guidelines, we give them some rules, we give them some suggestions to nudge them that before you do something, you may want to stop and think about the implication. So they gave us certain guidelines, and now we are that experiment of that breakaway civilization to see if we can join the greater community.
Plausible. I mean, I've often wondered if there may not be. I mean, it's and this kind of goes back to maybe not necessarily in the same vein, but kind of the whole idea behind The Last Starfighter, that they basically
Mhm.
release this game and then whoever beats the game can save them. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
wondering if maybe the same thing's not happening for different reasons. And it's kind of like I've wondered if maybe that's one of the reasons why they have focused so much on our best and brightest and why so many of them wind up disappearing, never to be heard from again.
Yeah. I mean, I know you guys over the years have talked about people that have kind of magically disappeared, or you never heard from them again, or once again to bring up Britney Spears, have gone batshit crazy. It there's so many questions that we will never know the answer to, and far too often a specific group or government or both seem to have their hands in it, and you just have to stop and ask why. Why are they doing this? What are they preventing us from knowing? What are they trying to guide us in this direction instead of where we're headed? It's frustrating because is it done to with good intentions to protect us, or is it done for nefarious reasons to keep the few selected chosen from 2012 that will get to go to another planet? There are so many questions, unfortunately, that revolve around the breakaway civilization that I won't say it keeps me up at night, but keeps my brain active because I try to look for reasons. I try to look for answers. And this one has an equal amount answers and an equal amount questions.
Well, the problem with theories like this one is every question you answer leads to more questions. It's like a
Yes.
never-ending thing because then it's like, okay, so which one is it? Are we the breakaway civilization, or is the breakaway civilization being kept from us for some reason, whether it's for our good, for theirs? And with some, and going back to your whole idea of maybe the breakaway civilization is actually a prison of some kind. It would track to a point because the few supposed interactions we've had with these supposed breakaway people that are inside Hollow Earth, etc., did not go well for us. So, um, it would track that there may be some nefariousness going on. But again, my question with all of this is again going back to Occam's razor because I know that this has been and I think the same thing that you brought up earlier, that somebody floated this idea to try to tie all the pieces together of all the different conspiracy theories. But the problem that I have with that is lately how many conspiracy theories have turned out to
True,
be
true.
conspiracy fact. I mean, it's happening over and over and over again. And part of it, I think, is because we have gotten to the point where I think we take a lot of it for granted because we don't feel like there's been a lot of advancement, but there really has. Because think about it for a second. We have more computing power in our hands most
Yep.
of the time than sent people to the moon. You and me and Amish are in complete. I mean, you and Amish are on opposite coasts, and I'm in the
Yeah.
middle, and we're doing a show in front of hundreds of people. So
Yep.
there has been some. I think there are some things that we've started taking for granted because since there haven't been these quantum leaps, we don't really see the refinement that's been happening with our own technologies. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where you know, is it that we're the breakaway society or is our own government starting to develop one? Because this goes back to the whole, I said this day one, what the hell do we need a space force
Yeah.
for? The next thing we're going to find out is the Stargate program and everything that we've
Is
seen
real.
from everyone forward is real, and there's actual, people in Air Force uniforms flying around the galaxy and going from galaxy to galaxy. I
Well,
mean, go ahead.
Here's the frightening part for me is you have an individual like Elon Musk who we both love and hate at the same time. One of the greatest inventions in 2024 that may not get mentioned much is community notes.
No, that's fantastic.
The idea that a collective source of individuals across the earth can fact check the alleged individuals who may be in a breakaway civilization in real time and swiftly is an absolute game changer. To when you look at why do they attack Elon, a lot of the times it is based on X. And like I said, I don't need to rehash what Orty's been through with X, but X has its issues. But where else do you get someone who for years has had unrestricted spewing of absolute bullshit? Taylor, I'm looking at you. All of a sudden, you're getting presented against them facts, checks, and balances. And that would absolutely scare the bejesus out of anyone who would be part of a secret society. And if you are a part of that, you would 100% lash out against it. And we're seeing that kind of in real time.
Well, to your point on that too, and one of the things about, talking about community notes too, is that it's, one, the fact checkers becoming completely apoplectic about their relevance diminishing rapidly. Where when Facebook said, "Yeah, that was a mistake," and it's like, "No, we matter," but it kind of reminds me. And this kind of goes with podcasting now, to podcasting in general, but community notes specifically. Is it reminds me of a comment that Daisy made in the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when she was talking about the rising tide, where the problems of the world just seem insurmountable to one person, but one person has 1% of an idea. If you get 100 people with 1% of the idea together, you've solved the problem.
Yeah.
And that's kind of community notes when it's like, okay, I may not have that direct answer at my fingertips, but somebody else does. And then when you look at, what they're, replying, what they've put in the community note, and then you're like, you know what? No, that I remember that now. That tracks. That really happened. And then, so the poster themselves is full of shit. And what I like now with community notes too, because that actually existed under Jack's Twitter, but it was actually, the thumb was on the scales of that. Now it's, with Twitter's monetization, if you get noted and it gets put live, you don't get the monetization for your engagement farming with that particular. So not only is it democratization of information and facts, but it is also punitive for spreading misinformation.
Yes. And that is the antidote to any possibility of a breakaway civilization continuing, if there is one.
I mean, so
no,
go
ahead, Rick.
No, it's all right. I lost my train of thought anyway. Go ahead.
It's probably running by Al's house right now.
Train.
So, I know that, the main proponent of this theory had, his idea of who was behind it. So who do you think is behind the breakaway civilization, because obviously something like that requires a level, at least a startup, until they can start to sell their patents or whatever.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, once again, in MIB talking about how they funded themselves through the release of Alien Tech. So, who's who kickstarted? Who's behind it? I mean, if you think about it, I mean, who would form this? Because obviously, if it works, government didn't have a fucking thing to do with it.
My guess would be a general, probably 3 or 4 star, that was in command of something between 1947 and 1951.
And just kick the can down to his subordinates through the years.
Well, the way I look at it, if you are a species who, for the longest time, thinks you are the center of the universe, and in 1947 find an alien spacecraft with maybe 2 or 3 alien bodies on it, and you find material that you takes years to test and you don't know where it came from, and then 4 years later you get the government to pass a law saying anything found by the military and others are now restricted. You would want to isolate as many of those people and smartest and brightest minds of your kind at that point and try to figure out what to do from there on. And the worst part of my thinking on the breakaway civilization is it was 100% with good intentions. But it's
And we all know
government.
what the road to hell is paved with.
Yes.
Delaney in the chat with Admiral Byrd, he set it up in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Plausible.
Yeah. The odds of that happening is greater than 0%.
Rick, what do you think? Who would be behind it?
Dude, there are so many different possibilities based on all the different things that we've talked about over the years. I still firmly believe that in some aspects, the Germans might have been behind some of it. I still think that may be the real reason behind Operation Paperclip.
That's plausible. Yeah, because I mean, this doesn't follow. This doesn't. See, I don't have an answer. I mean, this kind. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, while it is a breakaway civilization, it doesn't feel like secret society-ish. It's not something like
Yeah.
Bilderberg or the Rothschilds or anything like that. This is more of a. You know what just occurred to me while I was speaking right now? We're basically talking about the premise behind the TV show Eureka.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
So in that case, that was the brainchild of Einstein. He said, the best and brightest, they need a place where they can be untethered to,
And
work
47
on, solve the world's problems.
and 47
create
reinforced the need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And
yeah.
Einstein was part of which thing again?
German. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Operation Paperclip.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he come over before though? Didn't he escape?
Yes, technically he was before, but
he was the precursor, but he's who gave them the idea.
I was going to say I would say he was the main principle behind it.
Yeah. He was the prototype for Operation Paperclip, basically.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this guy's working out pretty good. We should grab some more of these Germans. And Galt's Gulch.
Galt's Gulch. So what we didn't do this week, and now that we got Jeff on here, we can ask him too. What are you watching, Rick?
What am I What am I watching? I don't know. I haven't really been watching that much. I mean, I've been sick again, so I've kind of been. Well, I guess that's not true. I did rewatch most of Chuck while I was down for like the week because it was just one of those things I kind of left on when I was dying. I keep forgetting how much I enjoy that show until I start watching it. Even though it's completely just the dumbest premise ever, it's a really good show. Except for season 5, just skip that one. Just so. What is it with shows in season 5? But yeah, so that, and then there was something else that I started watching. Oh, damn it! It's a new show on. I think Well, The Rookie's back, so I watched the first couple of episodes of that. Anything with Nathan Fillion, I'm gonna watch it. I don't care
Yeah.
because the dude deserves so much better than he got from Firefly. And Grok agrees with me, by the way. Grok and I got in a big sci-fi discussion last night. Even he thinks Firefly was robbed. So that should tell you something. But and then and I can't remember the name of the show, but it's been kind of interesting. So it's a higher IQ individual, but she's unable to interact well with society, and she winds up accidentally solving a crime while she's cleaning.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And then
That's
gets a
good.
job as a consultant. That's
Yes.
actually better than I expected it to be. I've been playing catch up with that one because it's been out for a while. But yeah, I think that's most everything lately. Because most of the stuff I like to watch is going away. Really sad about Lower Decks. That show wound up being one of my favorite Star Trek things ever, and now it's gone, and I'm sad. Anyway, what about you, Amish? What are you watching?
No, I want to hear what Jeff's watching first.
I just said it because otherwise you were going to yell at me.
I have been watching a shit ton of Korean Japanese campers. Thank you for turning me on to So Berry.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I love when the thirst trap, quote unquote, campers actually have equipment that they've used before. That is a level of, okay, you got my attention and my Kleenex and my lubrication and
you can tell their equipment's well used. It's kind of like, all right, so this is the real deal. This isn't just like
yeah. Their equipment's almost as used as mine is watching them. The other thing, I've been on a guilty pleasure this week, and I swear I never hear anyone talk about how this is one of the episodes is the greatest episode of TV in recent years, and it was on Disney Plus. But I have been rewatching the hell out of people reacting to Mandalorian season 2 episodes 5 through 8, especially culminating with the appearance of Luke again.
Right.
The last good Mandalorian.
Yes. Watching people react, and I've been deep diving into watching reviewers of people of age 40 and greater who most likely have seen the originals, at least in their youth. Watching these people tear up, watching the Red 5 land onto the ship and Cara Dune going, oh great, one X-Wing, and then seeing everything that follows and seeing their reactions, you kind of gain faith in humanity again.
Yeah.
That that meme, girls in a time travel, what would they do, or they don't, what do men cry about? They cry about that. They cry about seeing Luke fucking Skywalker again, okay? I've just been rewatching some reaction channels to that because it's so pure. It's so innocent. It's so, oh my God, I love something in here. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you. And I look at it going, I like channels like Overlord DVD and others, and they just bash the shit out of new shows. Rightfully, don't get me wrong. But looking back at that, just something like, oh my God. It's been watching reaction channels in the last month or so has been my guilty pleasure, because watching people even watch something as simple as Buffy season 2 and watching their reaction to that. God, why is Josh such a fucking mess up?
Right.
Yeah. watching
great writer, shitty person.
Yeah. Watching these people rewatch season 1 and season 2 and anticipating February for them to watch season 3 of Buffy. I'm invested in seeing their reaction because you get to relive your first experience watching them.
Yeah, that was like when we watched not Janelle, fucking Jackie.
Yes.
Firefly and Serenity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just seeing them enjoy it, and you seeing them getting the same emotions, even though they're, God, wow, they're probably 25 years younger than us. Seeing them
Right.
experience for the first time helps us relive those moments of, oh my God, this was such a great time to be alive, and sitting there going, oh my God, Firefly's coming on in 5 minutes. Oh my God, we can't miss this. It's fun, it's entertaining, and I enjoy watching the watchers.
Yeah.
That's actually been one of my favorite things
react
lately.
to.
Gracie's getting big enough now that I can start letting her watch some things. And I was watching the 3-parter, the animated version of the comic book series where the worlds basically collide in the DC universe. And she came in and started messing with me, and she's like, "Ooh, you're watching superheroes? Ooh, that's Superman. That's my favorite." Sits down on the bed, starts watching with me. Sat through all 3 hours.
I do gotta say, I gotta figure out, do I spend the time putting together a show on the terror of Morocco, or do I let the fat electrician do it?
I would say do it.
The Iron Top.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would say do it.
Okay.
Because your perspective may not be quite the same as his. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Anti-Unilinen, I want to do something about him because his story is fascinating. Not as much as, Meth, not once, or, Simo.
Right.
But when he mentioned the terror of Morocco in his latest video, I'm sitting there going, fuck! I thought I had an inside secret on this one.
There are no secrets. Oh.
So, Orty?
So, okay, so Wednesday is back on Netflix, gearing up for season 2. So I didn't get to watch the first time around. So
Sorry.
I just started.
I got to interrupt.
Yeah.
I got to interrupt because you mentioned Netflix. Netflix had one of the best Marvel shows ever on. Have you seen
the Daredevil series?
Have you seen the preview of the Disney new coming Daredevil Born Again?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh my God, check it out.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm gonna have to check that out because I've been very disappointed with the whole thing because, with the exception of fucking Iron Fist, those were fantastic. Even Luke Cage didn't suck. Jessica Jones was great too. Anyway, Kirsten Ritter. So I started watching Wednesday. I haven't finished The Pretender. I have this weird thing with me that when I get into the final season of a show, I really drag my feet watching it because it's like I don't want that experience to end. So it's like rather than watching 2 episodes, 3 episodes a day, I'll go to like 1 a week. So I still haven't finished The Pretender. And just having weird sleep schedules lately, I'll throw on some Deep Space Nine or SG-1 just to help me fall asleep. So just for background noise. But I've been just so that way I don't get to not where I can't pay attention to it. I've been watching 1 episode of Wednesday a night, and that is a good show. It's kind of I didn't want to like it, and really a lot of the fan service they've put in, and it's genuinely entertaining. So well done, Tim Burton.
Yes.
Especially sliding Christina Ricci in there in a way. So good nod back to your previous work.
Oh God, Christina Ricci. Oh, I'll never, ever forget that video she did dressed up as Morticia.
I heard that. You know what? I'll have to see the video because
or not the video, just the picture.
No, the image is a fake.
Oh, really? I thought she actually did it.
I'm so disappointed. I know. I was disappointed when I found.
Even if she did, even if it's a fake, you know what? I'm okay
because she's in the classic Morticia. The 60s. Yeah.
I am admittedly Han Solo from the latest Disney failure. I'm into that. Okay.
Oh, so speaking of Wednesday, I have to admit I didn't want to like it either. The damn thing hooked me from like the opening.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
The very first 30 seconds of the first episode, I'm like watching her do that. Like, did she really just
I'm in.
What?
I'm in. Kid lost a testicle. I'm in. So, yeah, no, it's really well done. And Catherine Zeta-Jones looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I grew tired of her in the 90s. So her,
Everyone's
doing
spelling
this.
her, selling her as Hispanic when she's Welsh.
Yeah. And that whole Michael Douglas thing.
Mhm.
Anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm watching. By the way, MD, that's a great theory on what we were talking about tonight too. We're a zoo and the zookeepers died.
Yeah.
So good take also. So I think okay. So to wrap it up, I mean, what do you guys think? Plausible, likely, or nah?
Oh, I'm going with likely. I don't know which version is the most likely, but likely.
I'm going to go so out of bounds on this one, and I'm going to say confirmed.
Well,
Sure.
of course it's confirmed, you alien bastard. If anybody knows, it would be you.
I don't know which one of the possibilities, but so many ring true. I have to say, mathematically, the probability of it being true against false tilts true.
Well, and it doesn't have to be just one. All three of them are
Right.
equally likely. So, I mean, I'm on the page that likely to confirmed in at least 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
There's enough evidence to say that, yeah, aliens are absolutely here.
Yeah.
Now, are they running a, crypto terrestrial program? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the other 2 sure as fuck are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because here's what happened to the sea people. You have the civilization that comes in, wipes out the entire Mediterranean, and then just vanishes.
Yes.
You have, and you have a lot of civilizations like that through time. They may just all be hanging out in Shangri-La.
Yeah, and I just can't. I can't stop wondering why I had to go through so many IQ tests in elementary school.
And especially when they just abruptly stopped doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just it. They don't do those anymore.
No.
No.
No, and I remember the people taking the test very vividly. They were not school administrators.
No.
That's because the other thing, and you bringing up the Pretender just made me think of this. What if some of that IQ testing was for private facilities like that? Just saying.
Another plausible.
Oh, I'm telling you, there's just so many things. I mean, that this could spring into like 14 different show topics.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, we've already been going for 2 hours, and my throat's starting to get scratchy. So
yeah, mine as well. I mean, we've all been sick recently, so I think the fact that all 3 of us can pull this off.
Yeah, we definitely need to start having Jeff on for these kind of topics more often because you could, dude, you could tell how excited you were about this from the beginning.
This one's in my wheelhouse.
It's a very specific set of wheelhouse, but you have it, sir, and you did well. All right, folks. Before I guess I start playing the outro, Jeff, where can folks find you?
I am hoping tomorrow. Ironically, I really didn't plan all this that much in advance. Tomorrow, I hope to do an ITC about the theories of how civilization on Earth began through the eyes of different cultures of Earth's history. And then next Sunday,
there's that whole
Yeah, I know.
serendipity thing again.
maybe, yeah, a little bit. And then next Sunday, Lost Wonder, I'll be talking space and science and going to touch on a subject I don't think I've talked about on that show before. So that should be interesting.
That's all we get on that one.
Uh-huh.
Nice. And where can folks follow along with you, sir?
I'm at A Cosmic Bard on Twitter/X because since my name changed, I've gone up in views and impressions by 40%. So thank you all for that. Other than that, just here and everywhere.
See, I don't know how much of that was algorithm and how many people were just like, yeah, dude's a fucking stoner. I don't want to hang out with him.
Embrace the power of Anne. By the way, merchandise
Yeah.
available at klrn.com/store.
Speaking of which, I'm mad about something because I was gonna
Birds
start.
are real.
I
Not
was
real.
gonna start pushing, because Monday for like the weekend, I was gonna seriously push the get your handmade shirt while you can. Apparently, the website says we're out of stock. I'm mad about that.
What?
Yep.
We're not supposed to run out of stock. They're print on demand.
It's not orderable. I was like, how is that even possible? But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, interesting.
And Amish, where can folks find you?
This week you can find me on Rancor Steve's Rumble X feed right here on KLRN Radio. Wednesday night, you and I will be doing Rick and Morty if we can get it together this week. And Thursday, I'll be on the Culture Shift with Brad. And a busy week for me. How about you, Rick? Where can people not find you?
All right. Well, for the short time, we're moving Rails back to Mondays because the ladies of Red Wine won't be back until mid-February. So I will not be hanging out with the guys on tomorrow night's panels. But we're gonna do it on Monday instead. Also, Monday we will be live streaming the inauguration, and also I'll be live.
Oh, that's
blogging.
Monday?
Yep, that's Monday. And then I'll be live blogging with Twitchy while we're live streaming the inauguration. And then Tuesday, and then America Off the Rails. I haven't decided what time I'm going to start doing that yet, so I'll let folks know later. And then Tuesday, we do the daily starting on Tuesdays. That's Tuesday through Friday, noon to 3, right here on KLRN Radio, the Rick Robinson Show. Tuesday night, Manorama, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on our X feeds, my X feeds, Rancor Steve's Rumble and YouTube channels. Wednesday, we I think are gonna have full boat again. So some sort of pop up at 7. I think G should be back at 8. And then me and Stacy at 9, me and you at 10, and then we start changing over into the syndicated content from elsewhere. Then Thursday, Jen and Rick, 10 p.m. Eastern. Friday, back around doing Aggie things with Aggie Eureka on He Said, She Said, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then pushing buttons for Front Porch Forensics a week from tonight. And then on top of all that, I also produce the Loftus Party podcast, which drops on Tuesdays. And you can find me as an occasional contributor to Misfits Politics, theloftusparty.com, and twitchy.com, which I had planned on writing there today. And then again, I told Aggie I shouldn't have said anything last night. It was like, now I'm going to wake up and feel like crap in the morning, and I know it. But anyway, dude, this man plague has been nuts. It just needs to go away. But yeah, you can find me also on X at RadioX73. You can follow along with the network at KLRN Radio and our new news feed at Digital Beacon US. I think that's everything. And if not, I've said way too much anyway. So we're getting out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on your Saturday, because I know a lot of you had other things you could be doing and you chose to hang out with us instead.
Which is awesome.
Almost 850 of you. That's insane. Bye, everybody.
Tomo and Tapa.
Hail Hydra.
No hailing of the Hydra. We have had this discussion.